You're fired. Consider it my gift to you. The text lit up my phone while I was still in my wedding dress, bouquet in hand. Minutes after saying, I do, it came from Tate Lawson, my boss's son, and the man who'd spent 3 months making my job miserable. He'd picked my wedding day to fire me. I showed my brand new husband, Karen. I expected outrage. Instead, he smiled like he already knew something I didn't, kissed my hands, and said, check your messages later. Today belongs to us. So I silenced the phone and walked into our reception. 3 hours in, my maid of honor ran over, pale. Your phone won't stop buzzing. 108 missed calls. Most were from the office. 17 were from Gregory Lawson, Tate's father, and the man who owned the company. I didn't know it yet, but this wasn't just a firing. It was the start of everything. My name is Waverly Abrams, and for 2 years I was the operational backbone of Crescent Design Studio. I'm the type who color codes grocery lists and catches measurement errors across a room. Coworkers called me the database. I held every client detail, every deadline in my head. Gregory Lawson, the founder, hired me to modernize the firm's chaotic project tracking. I built a proprietary system from the ground up, one that logged every blueprint revision, budget line, and permit filing. Completion times dropped 30%. Gregory called me the best investment the company ever made. Then his son Tate got promoted to department director, my new boss. Overnight, Gregory's respect turned into exclusion. Tate took credit for my work, canceled the training sessions I'd scheduled to document my system, and started making noises about restructuring. Around that time, I met Karen, a permit reviewer at the city office, who actually read submissions instead of rubber stamping them. We fell for each other over blueprints and coffee. What I didn't know was that he'd started noticing something troubling in the filings Tate personally handled. We got engaged fast and married quietly, partly because we're simple people, partly because I could feel my job slipping away. I just never imagined Tate would fire me by text during my own ceremony. Alone in the bridal suite, I finally listened to Gregory's voicemails. They went from commanding to pleading. Tate had no authority to do this. The downtown project's submission deadline is Monday, and no one can get into your system. The password doesn't work. We're at a standstill. Sitting there in my dress, I felt something unexpected. Power. I was the only person on Earth who fully understood the system I'd built, because Tate had made sure no one else ever got trained on it. Karen found me and sat down carefully. I need to tell you something, he said. Tate's been altering approved plans after engineering sign-off. Cheaper materials, stripped safety features, things that would never pass real inspection. I've been documenting it. I was going to report it next week. That's when I understood his calm smile at the altar. Tate hadn't just fired me. He'd handed me an alibi and left the company defenseless without me. What do we do? I asked. Karen kissed my forehead. Nothing today. Today we dance. Tomorrow, Bali. When we're back, we reshape everything. By midnight, I had 212 missed calls. Through our whole honeymoon, Gregory's offers escalated. First a callback, then triple my salary, then partial ownership of the firm. I deleted every message. This was never about money. It was about respect. On our last night in Bali, watching the sunset, Karen floated an idea. The city planning department needed someone who understood submissions from both sides. Someone to design verification protocols that would catch exactly the kind of corner-cutting Tate had been doing. Start your own firm, he said. Make the city your first client. 3 days after landing, I registered Precision Protocol Consulting. My phone rang within minutes of the announcement going public. It was Gregory. For the first time in 2 weeks, I picked up. Name your price, he said. I'm not available for hire. I told him. I've started my own firm, and my first client is the city. I'm building new verification protocols for building submissions. The silence on his end said he understood exactly what that meant. Working with the city, I used everything I knew about how firms like Crescent operated to design protocols that would flag unauthorized post-approval changes. A routine audit followed. It found exactly what Karen had already documented: thinned load-bearing walls, altered foundation specs, stripped safety features, all in submissions Tate had personally handled. The fallout was swift. The downtown project was pulled from Crescent and reassigned. Tate wasn't just fired, he was blacklisted industry-wide, his license suspended. Crescent lost millions and 30 years of reputation in 30 days. I heard Gregory had a minor heart attack from the stress. It brought me no satisfaction. He'd been a real mentor once, before his blind spot for his son took over. Meanwhile, my consulting business exploded. Within 6 months, I had 3 municipal contracts and a growing staff. Karen got promoted for his ethical stand. We bought our first house. 1 year to the day after my wedding, a handwritten letter arrived from Gregory. He wrote that he'd spent the year rebuilding what his negligence and his son's actions had destroyed: new leadership, new protocols, and Tate working a junior role under strict supervision after completing an ethics program. He wasn't asking me back. He was asking me to consult on the new systems, to make sure they never failed the public again. I asked Karen if I should go. What would meeting him give you? He asked. Closure. Vindication. Curiosity, I admitted. Maybe proof that people can actually change. He nodded. Then you have your answer. At the meeting, Tate was there too, no longer arrogant, visibly humbled. He apologized, and it sounded rehearsed, but the shame looked real. Gregory slid over a folder, an overview of the company's rebuilt systems, plus a consulting contract. Then Tate stood, left the room, and came back with an envelope, a check for the exact cost of my wedding, down to the last flower. Consider it our gift, he said, the one I claimed to give when I had no right to. Alongside it, he set down a USB drive, my original system, passwords and all. It's never worked right without you, he said. It's yours, keep it or delete it. Looking at these two men, one broken by his own choices, one humbled by the consequences, I realized something about revenge. Sometimes you don't have to deliver it. Sometimes it just arrives, and the real power is in what you do next. I told them I'd review the proposal at triple the fee, with full access for my team. And one more condition. Tate would personally complete every training module I assigned, no matter how basic, until he became the company's expert on doing things right. He agreed. I left the check untouched on the table. That night, a news alert broke. Crescent's competitor, the firm that had taken over the downtown project, was under investigation for bribing officials to fast-track flawed designs. Suddenly, it clicked. Gregory hadn't reached out purely out of guilt. He'd seen this coming and wanted my systems in place to retake the project. I almost walked away again. Instead, I called him at 7 a.m. I'm not interested in consulting for Crescent, I said. Then, before he could react, I'm interested in a partnership. My company owns project management and compliance. Crescent handles design and construction. We present as partners, but I stay independent, and any project Tate touches goes through my team's triple verification. He asked for a board vote. I gave him 24 hours or I'd pitch the city myself. Gregory came back with one addition: a 3-year minimum commitment. I counted with 2, plus an extension option. Deal. Precision Protocol Consulting had just landed its biggest client. When the competitor lost the downtown contract, our new partnership was ready with a stronger, jointly verified plan. The press called it a new model for architectural accountability. Tate started at the bottom: junior coordinator, daily training modules, nightly tests, repeat until he passed. Months later, I found him at the site before anyone else, checking concrete specs by hand. "The engineers handle that," I said. "I need to understand it from the ground up," he answered. "That's the only way I'll actually learn." I finally asked him why he'd fired me on my wedding day specifically. "Because you were right about everything," he said, "and I couldn't stand that my father respected you more than me." I thought it would feel powerful. Instead, I watched it all collapse. The system nobody could run, my father's face. I destroyed the best mentorship I could have had. I told him the past couldn't be undone, but he could still earn something real by becoming someone who puts safety above ego. "Show me who you're becoming," I said, "not who you regret being." Months later, Gregory wanted to promote Tate to assistant project manager and sent my old assistant to quietly gauge my reaction. I set one condition: Tate had to handle the next community presentation alone. I sat in the back, unrecognized, and watched him open by admitting his own past mistakes to a skeptical crowd. No spin, just honesty, including several "I don't know, but I'll find out." By the end, the room had shifted from hostile to cautiously hopeful. I told Gregory the first supported the promotion, but reminded him, trust rebuilds through repeated small acts of integrity, not one good night. Watching the skyline from my office, cranes rising over the downtown site, I realized this wasn't the scorched earth revenge I might once have wanted. It was reconstruction, a system of accountability sturdier than any one person's grudge, one that would outlast the project itself. That evening, walking past the site with Karen, he asked if I was happy with how it all turned out. "Satisfied," I said. "Not because they suffered, but because something actually changed. The buildings are sounder. Tate's becoming someone his job deserves. Whether that keeps going is on him." Later, a text came in from Tate. "Thank you for supporting the promotion. I won't let you down." I typed back, "Make sure you don't. Some gifts can't be returned." I hit send exactly 1 year after his so-called gift to me, a symmetry I doubted was lost on either of us. Some people would say I let him off too easy, that real revenge means burning it all down. But that misses the point entirely. Real power isn't about destruction. It's having every reason to destroy something and choosing to build instead. I didn't just get even. I got ahead, and Tate spent years climbing just to reach the ground I already stood on.